Okay, so within this collective, okay, there is a cycle here closing. I will say this for many of you in this collective. There is a cycle here closing that you're not necessarily needing to forcibly shut the door on. I feel like there is a natural cycle closure here taking place. You are being freed from something that I feel was holding you back. You're being freed from something that I feel was preventing you from being able to experience a level of joy within your life, presence, or even just fully be reborn in this transformational process you've been undergoing. I feel for many of you, you've been in this process of healing and personal transformation, but you haven't felt renewed yet. You haven't felt like you have fully emerged yet. I feel this energy of this collective emerging. Finally emerging from this, we'll say, long winter, late summer's nap, and feeling like the universe is giving you this support to be able to finally close a cycle that I feel for many of you, you question whether you'd ever be able to close. And I feel this energy of this is a miracle. This is a miracle taking place for you. It feels glorious. Like you're going to wake up on the morning after the portal and feel like a completely different person. Like the vice grip has been removed. The weight has been lifted. You're free. You're free. I heard to rise above. There's something here that you are rising above. And I feel for many, it's something that was keeping you off balance in your life or was preventing you from feeling appreciated or recognized and I feel now you're shifting out of that energy. Okay. And it feels like some of this is you following your instincts. You've been following your instincts for some time, but now it's like your instincts are being rewarded. That is always a beautiful time on the journey and path where you're like, you've been doing the spiritual work and finally you can see the fruits of your labors. Like you can actually feel different, not just like hear other people tell you you're feeling different or hear other readers be like, everyone's going to be looking at you and you're going to be turning heads and people are going to be obsessed with you. It's like, no, you feel different. Like you in your own energy are acknowledging the difference. And that is powerful. That is powerful. And I feel like this power is, dang. This power is helping you create this ironclad foundation that is structurally sound to be able to call in the life that you've always deserved. This is a life by design. I want to try not to get emotional. This is a very powerful energy. And I feel many of you are experiencing this because you're finally seeing yourself in your power. You're finally seeing yourself in all your glory. It's like you're finally recognizing what you're capable of. That's what this feels like. You're recognizing what you are capable of. And for many, I feel like this has been a long time coming, but you're definitely going to feel very different after this portal. Tell me, how is this affecting love for this collective? For many of you, this is giving the universe permission to bring you the love that you deserve. This is giving your guides permission to bring you a love that will be healing, a love that truly does feel romantic and deep and profound. For many of you, it's like you want that fairy tale love. You want that love that feels like it is one of poetry and movies and something that you've dreamt of. I feel like you want this love that feels exciting and something that feels like it has that same capacity to love that you offer as well. It's like this is a love that can reciprocate the love that you bring to the table or the love that you offer. For some of you, you have strong water placements. I feel water energy in this collective. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. I feel fire energy in this collective. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Okay. How does this collective know that this is their message specifically? Some of you have recently, okay, this is a collective that has been caught in this cross section or this in-between phase of you've been doing the spiritual work or even just doing work within your life. Maybe it's work on your career, work in your education. But this is energy of like really putting in the work. But up until this time, you haven't felt like there was abundance that was in alignment with the work that you had done. Like you may feel like you've had to live with less. Maybe you felt like you didn't have enough love. You didn't have enough money. You didn't have enough friendships. It's like there was this energy of feeling like you were in forced isolation. Forced isolation, like the universe was almost punishing you or being like, you have to do this alone. And for some of you, you're like, well, I'm doing the work. Like I'm doing the work. I'm ready for my blessings. But now that you're being freed from this old cycle, it feels like you're also being given access to infinite abundance in all forms. Love, financial abundance, abundance in terms of friendships that are in alignment. Okay, that's the key, alignment. And the key here is how teachable are you? For some of you, for a long time, you weren't allowing yourself to receive the messages and put them into practice. Maybe you're really good at spouting off spiritual truths and wisdoms, but when it came to actually putting into practice, that's where maybe you fell short. And don't get me wrong, we're all guilty of this. Okay, we're all guilty. We're all, doing our ohms, and we are all in this consistent and devoted spiritual practice. And then we are triggered in the real world, and all that goes out the window. Okay, but for some of you, you were not necessarily walking the walk and talking the talk. Okay. And I feel you now shifting into this place in which you are actually hearing what Spirit's saying, because you're realizing they're not trying to punish you. For the first time in your life path, I feel many of you finally said, okay, Spirit, I trust you. Okay, Spirit, okay, universe, I trust you. And for many of you, it's hard. It's hard to really fully trust, to fully give yourself over to some benevolent force or some type of future path that is unfolding that you are unaware of, because there's still this desire up until this time to have control. And that was this fear-based desire to navigate the path from a state of knowing, to have this predictive understanding of where you were being led. But now in this collective, you are finally trusting that the universe has your best interests at heart for the first time. And as you trust that the universe has your best interests at heart, you realize the universe is not acting in a way that opposes you. You start to realize that, you are able to receive these insights from a place of safety, because they do truly have a larger plan that is actively unfolding. So for many of you, I feel you are now fully stepping into and emerging into this new chapter through universal support, fully trusting your guides, and your guides are going to reward you for doing so. Okay? Some of you were born in December. That's a confirmation. Something about 1963. I also heard 1993, so that could be the year that you were born. I feel this energy as well of those of you who are resonating with this collective message. You have a strong connection to music, and you have a strong connection to even using music as a way to heal yourself, maybe even healing others. Okay? For those of you who are in this collective, this could also be connected to your family or some type of tradition. There's something here as well, though, about building new traditions, practices, doctrines within your life that now feel true to you. I feel this energy of you emerging here as someone who has changed for the better. And not doing so because someone told you to, doing so because you finally feel confident enough in order to be able to create this path for yourself. In order to be able to say, I know who I am, I know what I want. Dang. Okay, so tell me a little bit more about this new love that's coming in for this collective. I'm excited for this collective to experience this love. For some of you, it's someone from the past, but for many, I feel like this is someone new. I am feeling a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. I strongly feel Leo is the most strong representation in this energy, okay? This is a love that could go the distance. This is a love that could be long-term. This is a love that I feel for many of you shows up in a way that feels, different from any love that you've ever seen or experienced. It feels life-changing. Life-changing. It's very strong soulmate energy here. A destined soulmate energy. And again, Leo coming through strongly. So Leo here throughout the reading. As usual during Leo season, every single reading has like 17 Leo references because Leo's like, it's me. It's our birthday month. We get it, Leos. Okay? It's all about you, but it's true. It is all about you. But yeah, I feel this energy here of this new love or someone from the past, specifically Leo. I see fire energy overall. This is somebody who is going to offer you the love that you've been desiring of, you've been dreaming of. And someone who's going to put in the work to ensure that you feel like you can fully trust them. Okay? Tell me more about this person, though. What do we need to know about this person? Yeah, I feel this person is confident. I feel like they are very confident, or they're coming in with a lot of confidence. Okay? There's very strong chemistry with this person. It feels exciting. It feels electric. But even more so than the chemistry, what grounds this relationship is the fact that this person does check off all the boxes for you. It feels like when it comes to this relationship, this connection, your higher self can choose this now. Okay, whether it's a past person or a new person, it's like your higher self can choose this. Your higher self can fully invest in this without fear. And I do feel for many of you who, if this is someone who's new, I feel that you've recently cleansed or detoxed or removed some type of negative energy or heavier energy that was keeping you holding on to the past, or that was maybe causing you to reminisce too much towards the past. And that is what is making space for this new energy to come in. Okay. So what else we need to know though about this new love particularly? Yeah, this is the love that you deserve. I feel like that's the pervasive message here. For many of you, in the past, you would have sought out relationships or you've been attracted to partners who are not able to offer emotional depth. They could only give you so much. And for many of you, the karma that you had to suffer through was continuously trying to pour into those shallow basins and reservoirs in the hopes that eventually they would pour back into you, in the hopes that they would eventually have more of a capacity to receive than they had healed to be able to have. And I feel for a lot of you, it was just being able to acknowledge the truth of those circumstances and saying, this energy does not have the ability to receive my depth. And if I stay here, I'm always going to feel like my energy is unmatched. And I feel like that's what took place. There were these more shallow connections or empty connections that made you feel like your love was something that wasn't appreciated or acknowledged. But it wasn't just your love specifically. It was that that partner could not receive from anyone. They did not have the capacity to receive from anyone. But for those of you in this collective, for many of you, your healing work was to recognize that this was not a representation of you having something wrong with you or you being unworthy of receiving love. Your healing work was to tell you that you just needed to choose partners who are in vibrational alignment. Okay? And I feel for many, you had to face these karmic lessons repeatedly in order to recognize that you had paid off your karmic debts, you were ready to move forward, and you were ready to establish a foundation with someone that was more solid. Okay? So I feel this energy of now being able to open your heart to the right individuals. To be able to connect with those who can actually empathize in return. I feel for many of you, you use your empathy as a way to be able to find a position in someone's life. You empathize with them, you took care of them, you were intuitively aware of their needs. That's the tool that you use in order to ingratiate yourself. And I say that from a loving place. That's how you ensured that someone kept choosing you or kept, you around or stayed in the relationship or continued to connect with you. Because you knew that that was one of your gifts, being able to empathize with someone and really feel the things that they weren't even willing to feel themselves. But at some point you started to ask yourself, well, when will they feel those same things that I'm feeling? When will they be able to reciprocate that depth that I'm sharing? And I feel for many, this empathy, this extension of empathy was always a beautiful gift, but now you can provide that to yourself first and then to another. And when we can first provide empathy to ourselves and then subsequently to another, we create balance in relationships. For many of you, those relationships were not unbalanced because the other person was not reciprocating. It was because you were overgiving. And the other person was just acknowledging that they could not reciprocate in return. And the reason why we shift our perspective is not to be coming from a place of self-judgment. We shift our perspective because then we recognize that we have the power. We have the power to change our outcomes. We do not, allow forces around us to hold such power within our lives to the extent where we say, they just didn't want to reciprocate the love. No, we just overgave our love to the wrong people. People who could not reciprocate. And now in this moment, many of you have healed this wound of feeling unloved or experiencing unrequited love or limerence or infatuation. And I feel this shift into moving towards a love that is pure and true. It takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable after what you've experienced. But I also feel like for this collective, that is your truth. That is true to who you are. You being vulnerable, you wearing your heart on your sleeve, will always be the default, will always be the way that you choose to navigate the world. It's just a matter of now being able to do so and choosing partners, connecting with partners who can also reciprocate that same love and affection. Okay? So, insight and advice now into this new relationship before we look at career. For some of you, this is somebody who's coming in by the end of the summer. I'm specifically seeing September as significant. Okay? The message here is have faith that love is coming. But not just any love. Not just love that's going to knock you off your feet and then, leave you scrambling. Not just love that will leave you confused. A love that feels real and true. But I will also say this. It does feel like it's a surprise for many of you. It feels like it's coming in unexpectedly. So for some, you could meet this person in person. I just heard conference. It could be a conference or meet this person in person. Or some type of event, like a networking event where there's a large group of people, concert. And I feel like this person's energy, the moment that you connect to them, yeah, will feel different from anyone that you've ever encountered before. Because in essence, you're recognizing yourself in this person. You're recognizing someone who also has that same desire and capacity to be able to open their heart and lead with their heart. And if this is someone that you've been connected to in the past, this is someone who now is coming forward with an entirely new energy and a desire to come clean and confess something that they've been holding back. Okay? Because this person, if it is a past person, has been holding some secrets here, has been concealing some secrets. And I feel, whoa, for many of you, the secret is that they've never questioned whether or not it was you. They've never questioned whether or not you were theirs. Maybe they didn't tell you this. Maybe they didn't communicate this to you. But I feel this energy of them never questioning the love that they have for you, the attachment they felt with you, your beauty, like how kind-hearted they felt that you were. It's like this is definitely someone who never really had that question. But there was a delay here for many of you. If this is a past energy, there was some type of delay and things were sidetracked or things got changed up. And I feel like there was some pain around this relationship for a time. And I feel for some of you, there was a friendship here, or this end up having to become a friendship for a period of time because of the circumstances. Now, if this is a new love energy here, yeah, this is brand new, if it is new. And this is someone who is coming forward to be able to not only offer you love, but heal and cleanse the bloodline. There's something here about them coming forward to finally help you receive a love that maybe no one in your family has ever received. A love that feels peaceful and calm. Somebody who isn't going to raise their voice or allow themselves to move to anger. This is someone who will just feel like this very peaceful, safe energy. And I feel for many of you within this collective who are calling in someone new, you've never really experienced safety in love. Even with past partnerships, you have never felt fully safe. You've always felt like there was some type of frustration or even resentment boiling beneath the surface. So it feels like this is not only just commitment, but it's true intimacy from a place of safety. And I feel that for a lot of you, again, that's why this other cycle here is closing out. The cycle is closing out so you can move beyond this period of tension or stress or frustration, and you can feel this energy of peace. Okay? So, I hope that message was helpful for my collective, sending so much love, positive energy, and abundance. If you enjoyed that collective message, if you resonated with one of those messages, 888 down below. Let's do some career messages for the portal as well to see what's coming in career. Yes, Miss Shaylin. What do we need to know? And then we will do some yes or no questions, guys, before we move to the donation list. I'm not going to take any more donation readings for today. We are booked. Let's see. We always have limited numbers available. Also, just a PSA. Which better have my money. I will be on my semi-regular live schedule next week. It just might be a little bit later. We will see, because my time zone is 2 hours later where I'm going to be for a few weeks. A month, I guess. Okay, let's see. What does Spirit want us to know about the Lionsgate Portal as it relates to career? Yes. I feel this energy here of don't be afraid to start again. Don't be afraid to start again. Don't be afraid to start fresh. Don't be afraid to do something that feels new or try something new, approach something differently. I feel within this collective, you felt really stuck for a long time, but maybe it's because you're afraid to start again, or you're afraid to start from square one, or you're afraid to do something that feels like it's uncharted territory or a new domain for you to some degree. It requires learning. Maybe it requires some vulnerability in terms of being able to experience that period of growth and adapt, and to the extent in which we feel confident. But I also feel like for many of you within this collective, this is the key towards a new path that's much more abundant. And I feel like the universe is almost encouraging you or nudging you towards a new path within this collective, at minimum to try something new. What are we needing to explore here on this new path within this collective? Yeah. I feel for some, this could be a new position, like something that is brand new. Or even for some of you, this is you, becoming independent, starting your own business. Doing something that I feel like you haven't done before. And the advice around doing something, again, that you haven't done before is just be compassionate with yourself. Because I feel for many of you, anytime you start something new because of your trauma history or because of what you've experienced in your past, you may start to question yourself. You may say, like, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? am I going to be able to be successful? All of a sudden, all those old shadows come up. Those old shadows of insecurities or imposter syndrome that could have started as early as childhood. And the advice around this is to just know that you don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly where you're being led. You just have to focus on putting one foot in front of the other and experiencing the growth that is being offered to you. The growth is being led to your expansion. The growth is leading you to expansion. So sometimes we focus on the expansion. Like, what am I wanting to build? What am I wanting to expand? Where I feel within this collective is just starting small, doing one thing at a time. Like progressive steps that you're taking in order to feel like you're growing and really falling in love with what you're doing. And then that is going to lead to this very expansive path. Very expansive path. Within this collective, I truly do feel that you have experienced many death and rebirth cycles in your life. You have had to go through many big changes. You've gone through many big transitions. I feel within this collective, you've rebuilt many times in your life. So some of you are tired. Some of you are tired of rebuilding. You're tired of starting over. So there's part of you that's like, I don't know if I want to start over. Right? Again, there's a little bit of reticence or cautiousness around this. But it also feels like this is part of your higher path and purpose. Even that experience of rebirth. That phoenix rising from the ashes, that transformational aspect of you is one of your most profound gifts. The song right now is, "This is the best day of my life." For many of you, your willingness to transform through discomfort is going to lead you to the best cycles of your life, the best days of your life, the best times of your life. And it's because you are willing to trust and thrive and be resilient even amidst uncertainty. So sometimes we have to accept that the only constant is uncertainty. The only constant is the fact that there is unpredictability, that we don't know where we're being led. But that's also a beautiful part of the journey that we're walking, that we don't know. Sometimes we don't need to know. Sometimes all we need to do is just release the part of ourselves that is still holding on to said fears. Focus on the part of ourselves that does feel excited and is looking forward to experiencing joy in a new way or a new adventure. And let spirit do the rest. Okay? So, any other insight or advice around this? What do we need to know? Yeah, I feel for many of you, what you are creating as well, whether you realize it or not, what you're creating is some type of position for yourself that actually is going to create more balance in your life. I feel for some of you, what you are creating is the ability to not have to work as much, or the ability to not have to put out as much effort, and the ability to be able to shift into a place in which, yeah, you just have a life that feels more well-rounded, more varied. Okay? But it feels like you are following this specific path to get there. And for many of you, the path right now is starting all over again. And the advice around that, if we are starting all over again for many of you, it is about, letting go of the need to hold on to something from the past. Maybe it's like an old way of existing or being just to be right. And trust the fact that you are talented, even amidst times in which there's change and volatility. When you don't believe in where you're being led, or when you don't believe in what, maybe even the skill set or your ability, I want you to just strictly have belief in yourself. You will be able to go so far within your life, strictly rooted in your self-belief. You will be able to experience so much success in your life simply based on your belief in your own ability. Simply based on your own confidence. There's an old phrase that I reference. It says, it's actually an old song. I have confidence in confidence alone. Sometimes all you need is the confidence. Sometimes all you need is the self-belief. Sometimes all you need is the chutzpah, the gumption, the wherewithal, the conviction, the willingness. And that will lead you so far. That will allow you to experience so much growth. And it also, in many ways, allows you to lean in to whether they are ancestral forces, shamanic forces who are supporting you on the path, to be able to help build a level of trust. On the other end of this path that many of you are consciously cultivating, there is growth. There are rewards that you are reaping at this time. I feel the color green is significant. This is heart chakra. This is all being led by the power of your heart. Okay? Many of you, apples are a confirmation. Maybe you had an apple today for breakfast. Okay? Color green significant. You could love the color green. Could be your birthstone. You could be wearing green right now. I feel this energy here of this spiritual upgrade you're experiencing within your career, but it requires you to almost feel like you're taking a step back or doing something that feels like a downgrade, or it feels like you're having to almost concede in order to be able to be propelled forward. Okay? In order to be propelled forward. And if you can devote yourself and commit yourself to this path and allow yourself to unleash this very feral, inspired, confident part of self, the universe will figure out the rest. You don't need to know all the steps ahead. You don't need, just like you don't know how every single scientific principle works, because, I mean, that would be impossible for you to contain all that data. You don't need to know how every single thing works in the universe. You just need to accept that the universe is a beautiful place and that there's interconnectivity and that the energies are all part of a larger mosaic and that there are benevolent forces that guide us all. That's all you need to know. This is a collective that needs to be devoted and committed and not necessarily know every single step on the path ahead, but just ignite themselves from a place of passion. Your passion will stoke the fire. And even if this does mean taking a step back for a moment, or taking a step down to a position that feels like it's a lower position, or even like I said, going back to school, starting something brand new, or even starting a position that you don't know anything about. I want you to trust that you're going to be able to thrive. I want you to trust that the universe led you to this path for a reason, and that you were also co-creating and co-innovating that path with the universe. You led yourself on this path for a reason, okay? And it feels like in this moment, all the information that you need that is important is incoming, but there is no need to know anything more than the power of your heart at this time, okay? So I hope this message was helpful for my collective, sending so much love, positive energy, and abundance. If you enjoyed or resonated with that message, 888 down below.